So I couldn't sleep last night.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep last night because of what you said. What you said to me, you were on the telephone with me and you told me about prototype lawyers. And then I remembered we had an earlier conversation about how, like the cufflinks and like the way and
I'm always
everything.
teasing. I'm teasing.
I
I'm
know
a
it's
teaser.
not a tease, but it really got me thinking because how did I end up becoming such an ordinary lawyer in many respects? And
Ooh.
and I had to like really go think about that.
Well, let's rewind and talk about what we're going to talk about. This is part one of prototype lawyers, and so, I have some pictures here to show you. The first one is me and you should show some too. Me in the '80s before I went to law school,
Okay.
and there's just this, I look like a typical normal person, right? Just typical, like a person that's a person,
Yeah.
not a prototype lawyer.
Yeah.
And then the next picture is me graduating from law school. I still look fairly typical. My hair's been cut now. I'm looking a little bit more traditional. I have these kind of doe eyes, like, oh, the world is so wonderful. And then yet here is me now, right? So, and then, there's other pictures. We didn't take a lot of pictures back then, but how did I morph from being this outgoing, free-spirited, same kind of basic personality though, person to fitting into this legal profession? And then the same for you. Like, this is why it's part one. Like, what happened to us to make us become lawyer lookalikes?
Yeah. Well, the picture that you're talking about is the picture of you. It's in your office. You're in the car, and you're like looking up at someone, and all I think about is that song Don Henley, "The Boys of Summer," but like the girls of summer, and you have this like look in your eye, like anything is possible. Mm-hmm. This is who I am. I am going to tear this world up. That's the look I see. And then, actually, it's not the graduation photo. There is a photo of you, and I think it's at a WSAJ event where there's like 6 guys, and I think Strip Matter is in there. Paul Strip Matter is in there. And then you're in that photo. And I was like, my question was.
Oh, that was actually my law firm. There were 8 of them.
There were 8 of them. Okay, that's the law firm photo. And I was like, what was the progression from you in that car to that person, and what you had to go through
Yeah.
to be part of that group of lawyers?
Well, and yet you see that even though I'm in that group, I stand out for certain reasons.
Yes.
However, before I got to that point, I still had to be a new and young lawyer.
Yes.
And when you graduate from law school and you get your job, you're going to look around and you don't want people to laugh at you. You want people to take you seriously. You are so young. I was 25 years old coming out of law school, and you want this gravitas and this aura. So you put on this cloak. I call it the cloak of being a lawyer. So you get the suit. You get,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was my hair. Like, now I'm putting it back because I do that if I don't wash it the day before.
Yeah.
There's me with my hair washed, and there's me with my not my. So, but you kind of go through this change of taking all these cues because you want to be a successful lawyer and you want to do what you need to do to be a lawyer, and so you throw away your individuality. You do. And you
I
put
agree.
on the uniform of lawyer.
That's right.
And so, but I didn't all the way. And I always had one foot out, one foot in. But most people, and you included.
Yes.
Because what's weird about it is I've always told you, like, we connect so easily. Like, I'm so, I feel like, even though I didn't have your hardships, that we're the same kind of spirit.
Yes.
You're so like, you're freaking wearing monograms on your shirts.
I know.
And you got wingtips on right now. What the heck? So,
Mike, are these bad?
I want you to tell us, like, what happened, Bo, because you told me you were a bartender, owned a
Clothing store.
you were an actor,
Yeah, yeah,
you're a poet,
yeah,
you were, you came in as a refugee,
yeah.
and
Because I wanted to be a poet. I wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
I just wanted to be a Renaissance beatnik bartender and live in the moment.
All right.
And I lost it all.
That was Exhibit A.
Yes.
Do you have pictures of that?
Of my old.
Yeah.
I do at the
Okay,
house.
we're gonna show that.
There's pictures of it.
Tell us.
What happened, I mean, to be honest, September 11th was a defining moment in my life because September 11th happened 6 months after my mom died. And my relationship with my mom is one of the greatest relationships I have ever had in my life because your mom is your first love. It's just, that's the first person you learn to love. And she died in April 2001. And then 6 months later, September 11th happened. And I never felt so alone after September 11th, after my mom died, because I didn't really understand who I was. I thought...
How old were you?
I was 2001, 77. I was 24.
So same kind of thing. Like you come out, you're this person that's in their early to mid 20s.
Yeah.
And your identity, even though you might have had a very strong identity, I don't want to say you go through a 20-year, like an early midlife crisis, but you are looking to what? What is it that made you become corporate?
Well, I guess you're right. It kind of made me become corporate, but it was that I was living a life for myself and the moment, and those events made me want to live a life for others. And when I decided to live a life for others, I made the decision to give up the person that I was. And that was totally unnecessary.
Well, why did we do that? Okay.
Because the environment.
Okay. So that does seem like that's the seminal point for lawyers.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lawyer from Hawaii named Janice Kim, and she used to talk about you go to law school and you get a lobotomy.
That's
lobotomy.
Right. Yeah.
Like your brain, they turn you into this non-human person because they take out your human part of your brain. You get a lobotomy. Which I always thought that was very clever, but it's got such a ring of truth in it because the lawyer part kind of takes over, and the lawyer part is what you think a lawyer is, and what you think a lawyer is what the lawyers display, and what the lawyers display is what they've learned from looking at other lawyers. And if you go back in time to when they didn't allow female or minorities to be lawyers, which wasn't that long ago, you see where everybody learned to become a lawyer and look like a lawyer and act like a lawyer. It's the white paternalistic structure of the legal field.
The legal field. You become a bad imitation of yourself, and that's the worst thing that you can do, because you're not you're yourself, but you're really just an imitation of yourself.
Can you remember feeling like a fraud?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember thinking like they're looking at me? I need to like blend in better.
Absolutely.
I mean.
Absolutely. I do remember that.
I mean, it is a weird feeling for a person that's always never really thought twice about it. You're pretty, well, maybe you did when you were little, but as a teenager and young adult, like you are the stronger person, right? Because you're going to law school. You're an extroverted person. You're one of the stronger people. And then all of a sudden you feel like you're a chameleon, like you're changing your skin and you still stand out.
Well, you're changing everything about yourself. If you went and talked to my family in the Middle East and you asked them about who I was and my personality, you would be shocked and you would say, oh, that's a different person. Like, he has totally changed. If you talk to some of my friends, and I'm sure if we talk to your friends in your 20s, do you think they would say that you changed from when you went to law school in your 30s and 40s?
Well, they'd say I changed because I got married, and there's a lot of truth to that too. But the that chameleon feeling, that feeling of I want to belong, because, and why do you want to belong, right? Just general fear. But B, because if you're a competitive person or a person that has goals, you want to reach those goals, and you feel like you can only reach those goals if you're playing by the rules and looking like what you're supposed to look and acting like what you're supposed to act in this fraternity that is the legal fraternity.
Well, what you're describing to me is that you adapted, I adapted, and isn't it important to adapt in order to find success? Or otherwise, you would have been, and I would have been, an unsuccessful lawyer. If we didn't adapt, we would have never been able to find success. And then once you find success, then you can say, you know what? I am going to change things. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you had to kind of go through that in order to be in a position.
Well, that's part 2, and we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, when I go back and think about it, we were sellouts.
Yeah, we were sellouts.
We could not. It would have
Fraud.
been so much easier if we could have just been who we were.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, so for example, when I was getting ready to take the bar exam.
Yeah.
Okay, this is pre-lawyer.
Yeah.
My friend Liz, Rosemary, my sister, and I lived in my family's house that was. They were going to sell it, but they hadn't sold it yet. It was summertime. It was a fantastic summer. We had a huge deck. And I had made a goal of studying for 2 hours a day, no more and no less. That was my goal for the bar, which if you've ever studied for the bar, you would think I'm a nut because most people study like all day long as if it's a full-time job. No, for me it was 2 hours. I couldn't do it any more than that. Never been a good studier of school stuff. Well, I did it in a bikini on the deck.
You studied.
I had a
bar.
great suntan. I wore this shirt because I knew, Madonna was huge in 1980.
Okay.
When did I take it? 1980. I took it in 1985, I guess.
Yeah.
Huge, and other than not having blonde hair, I looked like Madonna as much as I could. My hair was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was just like Madonna. She was just my idol of anything. And I can just remember sashaying in there into the bar review courses, and people, everyone was convinced that my group would fail the bar, which we didn't. We of course we didn't fail the bar, but that was such a thing for me was Madonna. And then here I am. Well, I blame marriage too. Get married and become a lawyer. I had to give up going out, like all through law school. I went to the clubs.
Wait
Friday,
a minute. You were a
Monday
clubber?
night, Tuesday night was here. Wednesday night, I went at least 4 nights a week.
4 nights a week
All
you
through
were
law
clubbing?
School. All through law school.
Wait a minute. What?
Oh, yeah. All through law school.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have, if you had been a bartender here, I would have known you. In fact, Tony Chapa, who is a vocational, he was a bartender. I didn't realize this until later. He was a bartender at Sundays, which is the place that I used to go to all the time because it was a little club.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would have been the person coming into my bars when I was bartending. You would have been there.
Just saying.
I was up till
Although I
4
don't
in the
drink.
morning shaking drinks.
But I don't drink. But I was a dancer, so I would out there doing the dancing thing.
Okay.
So anyway,
We'd
all
give
I'm
you waters.
saying is, I had to stop dancing, mainly because of the marriage, I think, and becoming a lawyer. Both of them together, they were the double whammy for me of changing my whole persona.
Yeah.
It came back though, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to talk about in the next episode is like we changed.
Yeah.
We were sellouts.
Yeah.
But you can get it back.
And I also want to talk about what other firms can do to really celebrate some of the fantastic aspects of their own lawyers that they don't even know about.
Okay, although let's just point out that you are still wearing cufflinks with monograms on them.
Cufflinks and monograms. Well, look, the monograms.
It's Friday.
I know, but have you ever gone to a dry cleaner and they can't find your shirt? This is easy.
He's in a suit and he's going to the dentist in 2 hours.
Look, you gotta look nice for the dentist. You gotta look good. You gotta look presentable. I don't want to. What am I gonna do? Okay, but no. Afterwards, I gotta go have a meeting downtown for a board meeting, and
And you want to look like a board lawyer because you are boring as a board member if you look like that. I'm just kidding.
need to balance my personality and
Oh,
calm
there
them
you
down.
go. Like I said, chameleon.
A little bit of this.
Stay tuned for part 2.